Kenya is facing a total collapse of its medical safety net, with public hospitals running out of basic medicine and critical infrastructure crumbling under the weight of neglect. The country has officially entered a state of water bankruptcy as major reservoirs hit record lows, leaving millions of city dwellers and rural farmers fighting over the few remaining drops in a dry system. Over millions of Kenyans are staring at starvation as the cost of a plate of food hits an all-time high, with local granaries standing empty and markets failing to provide affordable maize for the common wananchi. As our lives move online, Kenya's national databases are under constant attack from foreign hackers, exposing a dangerous lack of defenses and a heavy reliance of foreign tech to protect our personal data. Hello and welcome to Worldwide News on TV7. Welcome our viewers in Kenya and around the world. My name is Mildred Odhiambo and I will be with you in the next 30 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Join our conversations on all our social media platforms at TV7 on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter as we dive into the broadcast. In our top story, the very foundation of our well-being is crumbling. Across Kenya, public health and social infrastructure are in a state of emergency. We are seeing a heartbreaking reality where our national referral hospitals are turning away the sick, not because of lack of will, but because the cupboard is bare. From Nairobi to the farthest village, the lack of medicine and the decay of clinic buildings are leaving millions vulnerable. Our very own correspondent, Zainab, is on the ground at one of the county's busiest public hospital facility to give us first-hand. We are hearing our reports of patients having to buy their own basic supplies just to be treated. What is the situation out there?
I'm standing in the hallway of a busy government hospital in the heart of the country. The air is thick with the frustration of hundreds who have waited since dawn. The machines here are silent because there is no spare parts, and the pharmacy window remains closed because there is simply nothing to give out.
The current status of the healthcare in the country is wanting, and so many patients in the country cannot access proper medication when they visit public facilities. Number two, we are having an issue of understaffing. Our hospitals are not staffed well. Number three, we are having a scarcity of medicine. I'd really love to urge the government to make sure that all the public facilities are well equipped with medicines.
This is not just about pills and syringes. It is about a broken social contract. As the buildings continue to wear down and the medicine cabinets stay empty, the people of Kenya are left to fend for themselves in a system that feels rigged against them. Back to you in studio, Mildred.
Thank you so much for your insights. Joining me is a health expert. With the new Social Health Authority SHA facing the big funding gaps, how will the government ensure that the public hospitals actually have medicine and stable staff instead of just registering people for a system that doesn't work?
Number one, strengthen our county facilities. And how do we do that? By looking at all pillars of healthcare. So we are not only looking at the buildings, we are looking at the staffing, ensuring we have medication. So basically taking care of our county healthcare facilities. Second is increasing healthcare financing. And three is strengthening our national insurance scheme, which is SHA.
Thank you so much for those powerful insights. On to our next story. Our nation is running on empty. We are no longer just facing a drought. We are facing water bankruptcy. From Nairobi to the North Arid, our hydrological debts are falling due. Public water utilities are crippling under billions in debt, leaving vital infrastructure to rot. As boreholes go dry and rivers fail, the natural reserves that sustain Kenya is being permanently liquidated. For millions, the tap hasn't just run dry, it has gone broke. As we track the deepening crisis of water bankruptcy across our neighborhoods, to understand the true weight of this shortage, I stepped out of the news desk and headed into the heart of our communities to see the struggle for myself. I spent the day speaking with residents and visiting local water points, and this is what I gathered.
So in Nyayo High-Rise Estate, we have water challenges. Water normally comes once a week, which is on Saturday, or maybe Friday night sometimes to Saturday morning hours. And that really affects us because since water is a basic need, it's a big challenge for us.
The taps have run completely dry. The reality of water bankruptcy has officially arrived. It's no longer a simple shortage. It's a total collapse of the supply system, occurring because the environment can no longer provide what has been spent. For the families gathered with empty jerrycans, water has shifted from basic rights to vanished luxury, leaving everyone to wonder if the flow will ever return. Reporting for Worldwide News on TV7, I'm Mildred Odhiambo. And now, with me in studio is a water engineer expert, Matthew Perez, who is going to share more with us on the issue of water bankruptcy. Welcome, Mr. Perez.
Thank you so much for this interview.
We've just seen the reports. Dry taps, rich people buying up all the water trucks, and poor neighbors left with nothing. Is this just a dry spell, or is Kenya facing water bankruptcy?
In 2013, a certain research was done, and in Turkana County alone, they found two reserves. So that is Napu, the Napu Reserve, and the Lotikipi Reserve, that water borders are dotting the town, the city. The urban developers, those that are able, they are drilling boreholes in the city. But now to the common mwananchi in Turkana, in places like Marsabit, beyond, they are with jerrycans on their shoulders. So the fight towards a water secure country, or even a globe, this fight, we are alone in this fight. The government is not with us. We have to take personal initiative. That's why when you go to some villages, people are digging boreholes, while in the cities, people are drilling boreholes.
And we see the government water tankers filling private swimming pools while public hospitals are dry. Isn't there a law to stop this?
It's very disappointing because Kenya as a country has no clock about water scarcity, that is water bankruptcy.
Thank you so much for those powerful insights, engineer. And with that, let's take a commercial short break, and when we get back, we'll be bringing you more interesting and knowledgeable news on food insecurity and digital security. Usiende mbali.
Indomie, ijaribu leo. Yum yum.
Welcome back to Worldwide News. That was a breather that was indeed breathtaking. Now let's dive into more insights and eye-openers. Remember, you can join our conversations on all our social media platforms at TV7 only on Worldwide News. On to our next story. The cost of a meal has become a crisis. Across Kenya, families are facing a new reality. The food is in the market, but the money is not in the pocket. From farmers who cannot afford seeds to mothers who are skipping meals to feed their children, the nation's kitchens are going cold. We are not just running out of rain, but ways to afford to eat. Our correspondent has more on this.
As you can see, I am standing by a dining area of an educational institution. The scarcity has reached to a point even where universities are struggling to feed students. Institutions are now forced to provide the same basic meal every single day just to keep the kitchens running, leaving campus students facing both nutritional deficits and the monotony of a survival diet. From the market to the dining hall, the struggle to put a varied meal on a table has become a national emergency.
You find in school, you eat the same kind of meal like almost every day.
The menu has been the same for over some time.
If we cannot manage our crops and lower the cost of living, no amount of talk will bring stability. My name is Zuhura Bilal, reporting for TV7.
Thank you so much for those insights. Now, joining us in studio is an expert on food insecurity, telling us more on this sector. How can the government stop middlemen and speculators from driving up market prices and food items while farmers are still struggling with crop failures?
So one thing they can focus on is improving the quality of their land, majorly their soil. And also they can focus on the type of crops they grow. Because at the end of the day, what comes from their farms is what will inform the trajectory of how scarce, how plenty the food will be. So if they focus more on their farms and the type of crops they grow, I think they'll be able to address the food insecurity in a major way.
Given that the government has spent billions on fertilizer subsidies, why are we still seeing empty granaries and record high food prices on the ground?
Food production purely depends on the quality of their soil and the quality of the crops that they will produce.
Thank you so much for those insights. That was it from our food insecurity expert, warning us that our food basket is running empty and reality is giving us a harsher wake-up call. On to our last story. In a nation that moves on mobile money, Kenya is currently facing a massive surge in cyber attacks, with recent data showing over 4.5 billion threat events detected in a single quarter, from AI-powered deepfakes impersonating leaders to complex SIM swap scams and frauds that drain bank accounts in minutes. Our digital doors are under attack. It is no longer about outdated passwords, but high-stakes war for our data, our privacy, and our financial survival. As we become more connected, we are becoming more vulnerable. Our correspondent tells us more.
The harsh truth is that our digital doors are wide open. We are seeing a dangerous trend of external dependency where we rely on foreign servers to store our ID details, our bank records, and our private chats. But as global tensions rise, these companies are not prioritizing our safety. The security patches and privacy updates that we were promised arrive too late. We are discovering that when a foreign app crashes, Kenya goes dark, and right now we don't have the tools to turn on the lights back on ourselves.
The year 2022, I was scammed. It all started with an online advert whereby I met a company is Clever Business Limited. It was giving loans against title deed. So I called the guy, then he told me it only take 40 days for me to list this 150 million and about against a title deed, and the maximum is 150. So he sent another guy who met on the property that was to be charged. We made the following day. Then he saw the property, started the valuation work. Then the following day, after one day, he told me the valuation fee that was, the guy had written to me the legal fees, the valuation fees totaling to 1.601 million. The man I had to pay before any work began. So after the valuation, I paid the value 100,000. Then he told me the legal fee. Remember, I've not gone to the company's offices. I'm told with Tengena mall to the first floor. I had paid there. After I paid everything, it took 14 days for me to be given 150. Only to realize that after 14 days, they are not no payment. There was no loan that was given to me. So I took a step of going to the company, and I found there were no officers of Labor Business Solutions Limited giving loans against title deeds. That's how my first brokerage money, and I decided to disappear.
I remember one time I was at home, I was chilling, and somebody told me, they called me and they told me, "Hi Sean, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm okay." And then they were like, "Well, I don't know, see what does this person want?" They told me my name is Dan, or I don't know, my name is who, and I knew some people who were Dan, and I hadn't saved the number. So I felt bad. So yeah, I thought I hadn't saved my friend's number. They asked me for money. When they told me that at a police station, and I was like, if I leave this person, they'll be in jail because of me. So I sent them 600, and they were like, I'll return. So and then I called my friends whose name is Adan. I asked them, where's the money? And then they told me, like, I didn't ask you for money. I was like, you guys send money now. Yeah, that's how I was coming out of 600.
The message from both the streets and the offices is the same. It is time to stop asking, when will they fix the app? And start asking, how do we protect our own data? If we don't break this cycle of digital dependency, our personal secrets will always be written in a foreign language.
Thank you so much for those insights. Now in studio with me is an expert on digital security who is going to tell us more on this sector. Welcome. With Kenya recording over 4.5 billion cyber threats recently, how can the government protect critical systems like M-Pesa and eCitizen from advanced AI attacks without compromising the digital privacy of ordinary citizens?
First one, it deals with the legal and governance framework, in that, the government should come up with the I-specific legislation, like the I-Bill 2026. Yeah, this bill, which will include the classification of IV systems, then ensuring high-risk performance, and also biometric monitoring. Okay. Second, under the legislative framework, also, the government should strengthen the ODPP, the Office of Data Protection Commissioner, and also the National Cybersecurity Committee. Third thing, the data sovereignty. They should ensure that all the data of Kenyan citizens are hosted in Kenya. You've come to find that there are some systems unapata ziko hosted abroad or in other countries. That exposes us to different attacks. The third point, we talk about strengthening critical systems against high attacks. Then also another thing, we talk about automated response. Automated response comes that where there are some things that we don't need humans to do for us. Yeah, we can always have automated responses from the other side, like when you are filling forms, when you are even seeking, like the customer care. The customer care can be automated. So long as, like the current one, I've seen KRA trying to do it, like in WhatsApp, where you can file your returns through WhatsApp. When that automation works, when automation removes the human factor from the process. So phishing of information inapungua. And the last one will be adopting what we call privacy by design, insecurity. What do you mean by that? You decentralize what we call threat detection. Instead of centralizing all data in one place, you decentralize that data. For example, if you take an example of in an organization, okay? Instead of putting employees' information in one system, you can always decentralize, like you work in another system. So when somebody accesses one system, there's a possibility of this other data being protected.
Thank you so much for that input.
Na furahia undugu na uko wetu, na sherekea kazi na bidii yetu, tuvute pamoja, tushirikiane, bega kwa bega tujikaze, tusaidiane. Niko na uwezo wa kujiendeleza. Niko nayo nguvu, nitajitahidi. Niko
It is a sobering reminder that true sovereignty in 2026 comes from controlling our own data. And that brings us to the end of Worldwide News. Stay tuned by subscribing to our daily updates and joining us on our social media platforms at TV7. I have been with you, Mildred Odhiambo. Until next time, take care and stay connected.